I wouldn't take you here if I didn't think you could do it.
And everything will be alright. Told me on the bass line. Through the night.
What's going on, you bastards? Welcome back. Welcome back to the 1,000 Ways to Say the Same Thing podcast. You know what? It's been a minute. Forgive me, but at the same time, you can't really judge me because my supply is your demand. Okay? You can't be mad at me. All right? It's been a lot of stuff. It's been going on this past, I don't know when the last one was. Someone pull it up. You pull it up. I'll pull it up because I have it right here. My last podcast with my friend Abdul was on September 23rd. So September, October, November. Was that a month? Solid month and like 2 days.
Something like
It's like
that.
32 days since my last podcast here in the old studio. The 1,000 Way studio. How's everybody doing? Everybody's doing good? That's good. Well, before we start, I have a couple announcements. I have a couple things to say. Let me grab my goddamn paper. First off, I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but there is a 1,000 Ways podcast website, and it's up and running. There's some background changes to it, but that shouldn't affect the functionality of it. You'll be able to access it. You can access all of the episodes from the beginning of time. So if you want to go back and listen to something, check it out. In the next week or so, there should be a whole revamp to it, so it should look a lot nicer. New ideas. I'm coming out with a blog that just adds to the podcast. So any notes or any stories or anything that I want to talk about, I'm just going to put up there. You guys can read it. Two other important things. First one, there's a Patreon page. There's a Patreon page for the podcast. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/1000wayspodcast. 1,000 Ways podcast, and yeah, that's it. That's the Patreon. Just a little bit about that. Basically, it's just up there. Any support you want to throw my way, I definitely appreciate it. Ultimately, the goal is to get that Patreon to kind of support the show a little bit more as like a full-time thing. So I have the freedom to do the podcast like full-time, equipment, traveling, going and talking to people that I can't really talk to, that can't make it up here, and I can go down and meet them. I just have the freedom to do that. In return for donating anything, because I'm not doing that tier stuff where you can donate like 10, 15, 20 bucks. You can donate whatever you want. You can donate a fucking $1. I don't care. But opening that up, anything you donate, you'll have access to some exclusive podcast stuff, video, audio, There's going to be like an extra episode put on there, and on top of that, some coaching stuff. So I'm going to put out some programming as I come up with it. You know, as I do it, I just love to test the shit out. Just give it to some hitters out there who don't really have any coach programming for them. They can just grab my stuff for like $1.50. Also, kind of opening up my channels to you. You hook it up. You help me out. I help you out. If you don't have a coach, but you need someone to look at your lifts, send me some shit. I'll look over them and give you my critiques on them, and I'll help you out the best way I can. And I would like to, in the future, definitely open it up to you know, training and going to some facilities, maybe like the CrossFit by Overload that I'm helping out with. They have a big facility. We can train together. My home gym, my home gym here, maybe after some vetting, and I make sure that you're not a fucking psycho. But yeah, I would, you know, to help me out, I help you out. Love that. What does Jonah Hill say? What does Jonah Hill say in Superbad? He's like, Emma Stone's like, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. He's like, funny thing about my back is that it's located on my cock.
There you go.
So the Patreon page, help me out if you would like to. If not, it's fine. And then last but not least, I have another thing that I like to offer. Aside from like the Patreon support, if you need like an actual remote coach, someone who's there and like an actual guy who's there 24/7, programming, all that kind of stuff, I'm your guy. I want to open that up, and I'd like to start doing that seriously. So if you want to do some remote coaching, or if you're in the area and you need a weightlifting coach, fucking hit me up. Drop my line. You know where to reach me out. And shit,
just hit them up anyway.
Yeah, do that.
Just because you're all a bunch of, what is it? Bunch of cowboys.
We're the Suicide Cowboys. They're the hitters.
Cowboys.
Remember,
they're the hitters.
They're
Gotcha.
the hitters.
Gotcha. Just hit them up because you're all hitters.
Hit them up. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And that was the announcement. And yeah, today was the first episode back in about a month. So I'm joined here by my Suicide Cowboy cousin Santi, and we're gonna talk about some shit. We're talking about some shit.
As always.
Ready?
The huge.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's get it. All right, we're here. We're back. After those beautiful credits, intro credits played. So I don't know who should start talking, me or you. Let's give the people what they want. We'll give them me first.
I was gonna say I'm unaware as to what we're talking about in the first place.
Well, I'm not really talking about much. Everything that's on the board is our stuff.
Whoa!
What?
We're talking about a lot here. All right.
Well, we're recording right now. What are you doing? Bailee just walked in. Do you want to be on this one? Okay. So the woman Bailee just walked in. She just got home from work, and she kind of wants to be on this one. So I think this might be the good one. This might be the one that she gets on.
Seriously?
Yeah, just get Maul out so she doesn't start barking.
Mom, go outside. She's not
Wow, dude, this one's full of a lot of twists and turns already.
Yeah. This is quite a surprise.
Can
you close the door?
Go on.
Wow, this is really happening right now. Okay, let's go. Let me just add another one real quick.
Do that.
Oh, gosh. Okay, go get your water.
Oh, never mind. I'm so excited.
All right, so this is happening. So we're just adding a third person in here. But before she gets here, I guess.
All right, bring in that topic, son.
So the episode today is about being uncommon, being the uncommon man in a world full of common people. Not the rapper Common, the one who was in John Wick. Just common. Be uncommon. Don't be him. Don't be a rapper who gets stabbed in the heart by John Wick.
Was that the new one?
Yes, that's the new one.
I
No, that's
seen
number
it.
2.
I don't think I've seen that one either.
Regardless.
All right, don't be that common then.
And we'll get into it a little bit later when we talk about accountability and what being uncommon means. But ultimately, you just can't be average. Don't be the average person that you see or that you imagine being, the average person. Don't look at somebody else and be like, oh, he does this or she does this, so I can do it. Don't do that. Oh, she brought the food too. All right. Okay. We're going to take a quick pause, get everything set up. It should be like a second for you guys.
We're talking about.
Okay. We're back, everybody.
Oh.
We're back. Okay. And we're joined by a very special guest, the love of my life. Her name is Bailee.
Kilo.
Kilo's here too. My cat is here too. This is Bailee. Bailee, tell them about you.
Hi. Finally giving the people what they want.
I mean, that was definitely me.
Bringing the freaking legend to life.
Yeah.
Putting a voice to the name.
Voice to the name.
That's me.
So-
I'm Bailee.
So what were you guys talking about? What were you saying? What happened with Joe Rogan?
Oh, I don't know if you guys have heard about this documentary or not yet on Netflix called The Game Changers.
Oh, the one about the vegans?
Yeah. I feel like
The vegans?
that's something for, well, I
the
was
vegans? Who
the,
are you
what
calling
I was saying. What do you mean those people? No, earlier when Santi got home from work, I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast. He had a guy on there debunking whatever, but it was like 3 hours long. So I very much know how long these things can go for.
Oh, they can go for a really long time. They can go for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's pick up right where we left off. So right before you came in, we were talking about where we've been. So I don't know. So in a month, let's see what's happened in a month. In a month, personally, for me, I went from being on top of the world with weightlifting and hitting a 190 clean and jerk. So just
Did
all
that really only happen in a month?
all time PR. It happened September 8th. I hit my PR, 190 keys, PR, and I was on top of the world, having a great time with weightlifting, having a really fun time, and just really energetic, and like everything was just going up. And then
Literally going up 190 keys going up above your head.
and then literally like a month after that, on October 9th, so basically a month later, I fucking hurt my knees. I hurt my left knee, and that's taken me out of the game for about a month. And that's the first thing we'll touch on. Is going to be like injuries and mindset and dealing with the injury.
Oh,
but
yeah, for sure.
Hey, bro, all you need is carbs for those.
Yeah, honestly, the carbs will help your brain. Like, you don't need protein or anything.
Yeah,
for
bro.
Real.
who the fuck? What?
Hashtag game changers.
Game changers.
What? Is that what you guys learned on that?
No, we're just joking around.
I mean,
What are you guys talking about?
it's all a mindset,
Hey,
and you
man.
need carbs
Yeah.
for that mindset.
Okay.
Dog.
Exactly.
All right. So we'll talk about that.
You don't
But
get it. You don't get it. He's too busy eating meat.
okay. What about you, Suicide Cowboy?
I mean,
What's gone on with you since the last time you were here?
Santiago.
Last time you were
dude,
here,
I don't.
Santiago. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Dang.
Last time you were here, it was when Mick was here. When
that
Josh,
was-
when Josh Kirby
Yeah,
was
dude,
here.
that was when I was still at Friar.
He messed that up. It doesn't matter.
all
You don't even work there anymore.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
even say it. That was when I was at my last job.
Yeah.
That last job life. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, it was quite the road. You know. Now I'm working at another place. You know.
Same place I work. Woohoo!
You guys are.
I got him that job.
You guys are just trying to get killed, aren't you?
I'm not gonna tell them.
Yeah, I didn't say anything there.
Okay.
No, but yeah. So now I'm working another job, and even more exciting, I moved in
Yeah.
with you.
He lives
I
here
moved
now.
in with the team. Yeah. So
the squad.
now I'm
And we're about to pick up another one here in a
We're
minute.
legit. Yeah. Well, honestly, who knows? That's another. That's okay. We have
another
Santi here
episode.
right now.
That's
We got
another
Santi here
episode.
right now.
Santiago, bro. That's a good one.
Santiago, bro.
Suicide. The 2 suicide cowboys and who? Who is she? Who is 2 suicide cowboys and the Ice Queen?
Can
Ice Queen. I was gonna say the Starlet, but
The Ice Queen. No, because we watched Frozen 2 the other day, and she was like, I am Elsa.
I got really emotional.
She's like, I am Elsa. That's so 2 suicide cowboys and the Ice Queen.
The Ice Queen. All right, that works.
Yeah.
That works.
And I don't know what to do with you because you haven't like checked in ever.
Literally,
so it's like
no one knows anything about me.
So it's like, I mean, like,
I guess they'll figure some stuff out about me as the plans of this podcast progresses.
Let's say from the time period that I clean and jerked 190.
Okay,
so that was like 2 months ago.
This is actually right before you had cleaned 190. I almost snapped my wrist.
Oh yeah, you almost had the same fucking injury that I had.
So that was pretty not cool. I had actually signed up to Caesar. Sorry, I'm so used to calling him a different name, but Caesar actually hadn't signed up for the competition until like I made him because I wanted to compete at this competition.
Shout out Rep Max Performance
Rep
Dogs.
Max
Insta Hefe.
Alana Hodge, Jerry
Alana.
Squat Sanchez.
Yeah,
those are our hitters.
Adam
Malovitz. I don't know what his handle is, but I had signed up for it because I had competed there last year and I did really good. It was super awesome, and I convinced Caesar to sign up for it. And the week before, we were doing openers, and I missed a clean.
Pretty trash.
And I freaking didn't rack it, slid down, sprained the shit out of my wrist, almost broke it, thought it was broken, and I wasn't able to compete.
Yeah, we had to do the whole process. We had to like go to the emergency room and shit, and then Kaiser sucks dick.
Yeah, they don't believe they don't believe that girls should lift weight.
What are you saying over there?
Huh?
What, do you like Kaiser?
Nah, bro, you're just throwing shots.
No,
you ain't got it. You
well,
ain't got a
honestly,
name.
like our
hey, Blue Cross sponsor me.
Oh my gosh! Unless you have like healthcare that understands like athletes, like they totally are like you shouldn't do that. But
it was really weird though because they looked at mine and they were like, yeah, you should go to you should go get an MRI.
His so serious, and they didn't take mine serious. They said you shouldn't be doing that in the first place. So it's okay. But yeah, so that happened. I hurt my wrist. Took some time off. I don't know, just worked on school, worked at work, tried my hardest not to freaking cry every single day, watch La La Land and cry, you know.
Bam, great film.
It is an amazing film.
It's a great film.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. But
I mean, after this podcast.
After. So what?
Or simultaneously.
Like a month later. Well, I don't know.
So like that was in September, and then in October that we went through like all of October. What happened for you in October? Fuck, dude, I just said October so many times.
October. I can't really think of like anything big that happened. No, that's not October.
Wow, you're just gonna do that?
I'm sorry.
You're just gonna do what?
Well, I mean, I got good enough where I could start training for another competition, but that happened in November, so I kind of got the green light in October to actually start like legitimately lifting back on the program.
You kind of got like a promotion at work too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I did. I got a promotion at my job. I'm in like management now, so that was pretty cool. I'm like seriously downplaying the shit.
Yeah,
out of
didn't you
now.
PR at the?
But that was in November. So
that was in November.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean?
What happened?
That was in November.
What?
Yeah. What about
doesn't that like
it just counts?
Oh well,
like that was in November. No,
yeah.
no.
Hey, what happened to you watching Frozen 2 and you being like, she found out and Elsa found out? Spoiler alert! In case you haven't seen it.
No, don't tell them.
But Elsa finds out
that
like,
it was herself all along.
That Elsa finds out that she's like the Avatar, bro. Elsa's the Avatar, and she's like,
yeah,
I am
sick.
all this. And then after you started crying to me in the car on the way back, and you were like about how you're like, I always downplay myself, but after watching that movie yesterday, what did you say? Because I don't remember.
Well, I just like I really related to it. Okay, so I guess.
Oh, you're not eating for a while.
I'm not. I wasn't looking at that. Like in Frozen, there was this theme where it was a lot about self-esteem and confidence, and for the longest time I had struggled with confidence issues where I didn't think I was enough. I didn't think I would ever be good enough, and I would use certain words like in every day where I was always down talking myself, and
like you just did a couple minutes ago.
like how I was just selling myself short pretty much. But I mean, like I've done some pretty cool stuff.
Okay,
and
let me just give you the download. So,
oh my gosh, wait, I wasn't done. It's okay.
Let me just give you the
You're
download.
close.
So Bailee manages more than I can and more than Santiago can. She handles going to school, being a good student, being a good worker, and a full-time athlete while maintaining like a really high GPA. She also manages the money for the household and makes sure that we don't fucking blow everything up and kill ourselves. If we didn't do it, if we didn't have her, our entire lives would be ruined. And
Caesar probably would have never clean and jerked 190 because I'm the one that signed him up for that competition.
yeah, exactly. I would have fucking busted my knees with that.
That's why I'm like I'm behind the scenes.
Yeah,
you know?
she's the behind the scenes. She's the producer. She's everything.
She keeps the flow going.
She does.
But the thing, like I don't like to. Although it is like a big thing about self-confidence, I also like being humble. Like I'm not gonna gas myself up like that. You know, like why do I have to tell other people about how great I am when I know?
I remember.
Let your
sandwiches.
actions speak.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's like, look who's gassing you up.
Yeah.
It don't matter. It don't matter about anyone else but.
I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances.
Yeah.
Vanessa.
Look at the lyrics right now.
No, it's okay. Okay.
So anyway, but yeah, that's what's happened in the past month or two.
Just know that if she wasn't here, I wouldn't be here. Okay.
True.
Sam.
Because she like birthed me.
Oh my god. Ew.
Okay, but that was like training recap. That's essentially what's happened since September. Now, me personally dealing with this new injury, it's definitely been aggravating, and I'm kind of happy that Bailey's here to talk about her injury because she handles her things a lot different. I get really depressive, and I try to watch funny videos and shit to keep myself from thinking about quitting everything. Bailee handles it a little bit differently. I don't know. What about you? What have you hurt yourself doing?
How do you handle adversity?
How do you handle really big, bad adversity that just kind of feels like it takes you out of the game, dog? You go first.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, thankfully, especially now in the environment that I'm in, I'm around people who...
Shout out Kilo.
Shout out Kilo.
Yeah.
I'm around you guys now. And, I mean, that's the big thing. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that you guys have carried yourselves where you guys are right now. You know what I mean? And I mean, I see that, and I look up to you guys. You know what I mean? So it's all I see is what can be done in a span. You know what I mean? And sometimes, yeah, you wanna finish that 2 years in a day. You know what I mean? You want to fast forward, but you realize that that's not. I mean, really, if you look at life that way, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like the thing is you just gotta stay hard. You know what I mean?
Stay hard.
That's all there is to it, dude.
That really is, man.
It really is.
That's
like
crazy.
More than anything, like there's not a phrase out there I think that you should relate to more, because I mean, case in point, it's like it's an everyday thing. You know, it just never stops. And if you think about stopping, I mean, all that progress is just going to be halted. It's going to come to a halt, and you're going to have to start again.
What's that saying? It's better to
have loved and lost
than
never have loved at all.
Not that. No, it was
Oh, well, I know one that's kind of relevant is that people overestimate what can be done in a year, but underestimate what can be done in 5.
See, that's one of them. That's one of them. There's another one
that hurts.
It's better to
for real.
Fuck no! It's about being able to. I think it's better to start over than to not start at all. Right? Is that what it is?
Probably.
Oh, I get where you're going with it, though.
I mean, how many times?
I'm trying to remember.
I mean, how many times? I mean, the thing is it's like it's almost like thinking about. I just think about sports almost. You know what I mean? Where it's like soccer, or I mean, you know, I played a little bit more lacrosse in my days. If you take enough shots, you know what I mean. Not all the time is it about accuracy. One's bound to go in, right?
You miss
one's bound to go.
You miss 100% of the shots that
you don't take.
You know who said that?
Michael Scott.
Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, sorry.
But,
I knew it was Wayne Gretzky.
But yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's perfectly put. You know what I mean? So it's like someone's got to start somewhere, or I shouldn't even say someone. Everyone's got to start somewhere.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
There was something I heard the other day that was the worst possible feeling is when the person you are meets the person that you could have been. So I guess that really kind of goes with it, where it's like, if you just kind of stop, if you don't let yourself, if you don't continue, if you just stop, instead of starting over or not even trying at all, it's better to just get through it as best as you can. I can't remember that quote at all, man. I'm trying to remember it.
I don't know.
So
but,
that's how you think about dealing with adversity, is just like trudging on kind of thing.
I mean, I don't see another way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, if I were to be honest, I think you are like definitely an idol to be put out there.
Moi?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, straight up, because I mean, like Caesar just put. I mean, you balance so many things, right?
Who the fuck?
But at the same time, it's like
right? Like, how do you?
What did you call him?
I know. I was kind of taken aback that you just called him that.
Well, I have to.
Okay,
I have
but
to. You know what I mean?
anyway,
Yeah. I know. It sounds gross, dude, coming out of my mouth. I get it. No, but I mean, that's the thing is, do you ever think about like where you're gonna be? I mean, do you even think 5 years down the road?
Do you even think?
No, I don't. Like, I would. That's something that is different between like me and Caesar. Yeah, that happened. That's something that's kind of different. Is that
Kingsley's lost?
Yeah, I know. Is that he like has all these like big dreams and aspirations, you know, that he writes down.
Caesar
dreams that he writes down and he wants to accomplish. But with like compared to me, I love thinking like 5 years ahead, but I don't really put down anything like definitive, because like, you know, I take one day at a time. Things can happen, so no matter what, I'm gonna like try my hardest. But I really like taking stuff like one day at a time. And there's actually, oh my gosh, this is perfect. One thing I like to think of is that like you want to, if you're ever struggling, like the one thing that you can do is for 10 seconds, like go all out, like literally try. You can do something at like full capacity for 10 seconds, and that will just put you a little farther ahead, and then like maybe you'll have accomplished something after that.
Well, because you can do that with anything.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't necessarily have to be 10 seconds, because
it could be like a day.
Well,
or
granted,
it
I
could be,
mean, it's just the task at hand. I think really what it comes down to is, I mean, everything's going to take. There's no definitive like timeline for anything. You know,
it's just like chipping away at something.
Well, like
you know?
10 seconds. What Bailey and I do as far as weightlifters, max, like going on a max attempt or as hard as you can when you don't want to. You can go hard for 10 seconds. You can go the hardest you can for 10 seconds. If you die, it's not your problem anymore. It's not,
because you'll be dead.
Yeah. But it depends on it depends on the circumstance, because if it's like, you know, if you're a writer, you can sit and force yourself to write, even if it's shit. You can write as hard as you can do whatever you can write as hard as you can for an hour. You know, if it's any sort of art or something that makes you think, you can do that for an extended period of time, for that amount of time, because at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, and it's really about like,
just
you know, like just getting the ball rolling and kind of like pumping yourself up. But that's kind of how I just approach like everything, like school, work, especially weightlifting, like 100%. I just like to be like super present in like the here and now, as opposed to like thinking about what's off in the future for me, because regardless of what's off in the future for me, if I'm not present, then that's probably not going to happen.
I am.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's like the biggest struggle that I think definitely I have come to terms with, that I'm trying to like kind of put behind me, is the fact that, I mean, you guys said it. Everyone's going to die. You know what I mean? It's just like, you shouldn't focus on that so much. And I mean, it's such a huge thing. And I mean, if it wasn't for death, I feel like, nothing would ever get done.
That's the
but
thing,
at the same time,
it's the journey.
It's exactly. But that's the thing though, is like, you should just see every opportunity as exactly that, an opportunity. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, to live and die by whatever it is that you are doing in that present moment, that's going to be countless times more important, and you should focus on that imperatively compared to I mean a goal that you do set yourself up for in the future. And I mean, I don't know, it's like you might not get the perfect opportunity, and I remember I think you were showing me something, Angel Caesar, I don't know what to call you, dude.
Call me by my real name.
God.
Call me by my real name. My name is...
Sir?
My name is...
is Suicide Cowboy.
Okay, what were you?
I'm going to say Suicide Cowboy. But
my name
no,
is
it was...
Level 1 weightlifting coach.
All right. But no, it was a video or something on CrossFit or a weightlifter that they spent like 2, 3, 4 years to add 1 single kilo to their total or to their clean and jerk
so many weightlifters.
or something.
Like,
and that's the thing though, is a single kilo over that amount of time. Like, I can guarantee you they were not thinking about how long it's going to take them to do that. All they're thinking about is, I'm gonna get this up.
Yeah, like one day.
I'm gonna get this up. It's not even one day. It's like,
one day you may.
One day, fuck, dude. One day you may.
Bruh.
One day you may. Rest in peace, Rich Piana. One day you may. You know one day you may.
But that's not even what you were saying. That's
sorry.
Hey, no, it goes hand in hand, man. It goes hand in hand. But that's the thing, is I don't see. I think that, or at least from my perspective, I couldn't imagine them thinking, oh man, like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone were actually and this comes from like, maybe like Rick and Morty, you know what I mean? Where it's like, they've got
wait, to all the intellectuals out there who know Rick and Morty, yeah, and then to every fuck out there who doesn't know,
hey, don't use.
Oh
no, but
that's insensitive.
But no, like,
okay,
if you were
fine, I'll go back. What was the timestamp? 31 minutes. Okay,
something. But no, but if you were to know how you were to die, like, you're gonna, like, chances are you're gonna try to change that, or you're gonna be focused on what you can do to change that.
About the crystal,
the death crystal.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. All right.
Yeah.
But straight up, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, if you were to look and say, God, that's gonna suck going after a single kilo for over 2 years, like, why not just enjoy that? Why not just enjoy that? You know what I mean? It's like, if the life you live is finite, then spend it doing what it is that you love, and attempting at something. Don't see it as a goal to do something. See it as, I don't even know how to put it, but it's just the fact that you shouldn't set up goals in a way that,
real spiritual here.
I don't think it's spiritual. I think I think about this all the time.
You know what, rookie? This is the first time you've been in that chair right there. Okay, no, this is the first time you've been in that seat.
You've been on that mic.
You don't know what these conversations get like, rookie.
I mean, I know Santiago.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
I definitely get very crazy on this.
Touching on
subjects.
Touching on one day you may. On what you're saying. One day you may.
Let me hear it.
From what I understand about what Rich Piano was saying was, regardless, no matter how hard you work, whatever it is that you're doing, you got to believe that one day you may. It's the one, like the whatever it is that you're working for. One day you may lift that weight. One day you may
get that degree.
Yeah.
You may get your dream job.
Exactly.
One day.
One day you may. It doesn't matter, but it just gotta know. You fucking. This is the guy who worked 8 hours. He worked out his arms for 8 hours straight to gain an inch. One day you may. 100%. Okay?
Gain an inch. You might gain an inch, all right?
16 mini workouts all day. 16 protein shakes.
I couldn't believe that.
Okay.
Hey, did you know that a peanut butter sandwich is the same amount of protein as a 3-ounce steak?
Yeah, dog.
You guys are ridiculous.
Big brain. Okay, sorry. No.
But
Nut.
Nut.
Okay. You guys are what the fuck, dude? You guys are taking the show away from me, dog. Hey, Coors Banquet. Coors Banquet's great.
Whoa, I just drink water.
Whatever, dude.
I just drink water.
Oh yeah. Oh, is that because you're underage?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, you gotta go back and delete.
Nah, I'm not gonna delete that.
35,
They have no
31.
proof of this. They don't have any proof. Regardless, so we heard from Bailee. We heard from Suicide Cowboy over here.
You mainly heard from Suicide Cowboy. Okay, let's hear from you.
Did you say anything about this?
Well, you asked him about how he handles adversity.
How do you handle adversity? How did you handle your injury?
I kind of said what she does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you did a pretty good segue. I agree. Yeah.
That was unintentional. The thing is we had already been talking about it, and like this podcast had been like kind of grounded upon what Bailee has done, and it's like I depend on you, and then you depend on her.
Oh my god!
So
inadvertently, I depend on her. Dude, that's fucking crazy. That's wild.
Well, there's this poem. There's this poem by Burton Bailee. It's a really good poem.
Bailee.
Shut up.
Sorry.
Careful, Rook. You're almost out of the chair.
Why?
You're going to be gone in a second.
This is just how I am.
Since
this is who I am.
Since when? You're drinking a beer. You're feeling good now? Okay. Burton Bailee. This poem is called The Will to Win. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, work day and night for it, give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it, if only desire of it makes you quite mad enough never to tire of it, makes you hold all other things tawdry and cheap for it, if life seems all empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and you dream is about it, if gladly you'll sweat for it, fret for it, plan for it, lose all your terror of God or man for it, if you'll simply go after that thing that you want with all your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope and confidence, stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famished and gaunt, nor sickness nor pain of body or brain can turn you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, you'll get it. That's a really long poem for One Day You May.
Literally.
They should just rename that poem One Day You May.
Hey, you want to know what it is? It's 1,000 ways to say the same thing.
It's like she's cute, but
was that bad? I'm sorry.
She's
was
cute.
that bad?
She's cute enough to stay in the chair, but she's being a real rook with all
Was that bad?
I don't think I've ever said the title in the middle of the
gonna,
show.
You know, I'm gonna gas you up. I got you. No, that 100% is like.
You know who showed me that poem?
Who?
My dad.
Shout out
to the
guy who really makes this all possible.
Yeah, who really makes it all
possible.
possible.
I mean, like hand in hand with me, you know. Honestly.
Yeah.
That was great though.
But that's hard.
But honestly, it's like when you think about it, and you think about any sort of setback or any sort of adversity that you have, sometimes you got to sit back and really think about it, because no matter what, and I don't think I've actually talked about it. Maybe I have. Maybe I mentioned it. But everything that you've heard us talk about before, the little Santi and I have talked about the like our job before, where we worked before this, because we worked together, how bad it was, and just how not enjoyable it was, and how it really slowed down a lot of the things that we were doing in our life. And he had to take a step away, and he left, and then I took a step down from the management position I was to kind of go after it and kind of go after the things that I wanted. And it's crazy to think that if I hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't be in the position I am today. But he talks about, you know, if you'll simply go after the thing that you want with all your capacity, your strength, your sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. I don't know what sagacity is.
To be honest, I was going to ask you.
I've
sagacity.
I used to know it was
sagacity, the quality of being sagacious. Okay. What's sagacious?
That's a GRE word.
Sagacious.
Sagacious.
What's that movie with Natalie Portman? She's a ballet dancer. Black Swan. Have you seen it?
I read the synopsis.
She's kind of brazy, bro. She's a little brazy.
No, but that movie, like, I think that poem actually. See, the thing is right, like, that movie definitely takes it to a whole nother level. But Eminem had it right, dog. You gotta lose it. You gotta lose it, man.
Literally.
Lose yourself in the moment. I don't know. I was trying to remember the rest of the lyrics.
Is he gonna finish it?
No, I was trying to remember the lyrics.
Lose yourself in the moment. You own it.
Thought it was the moment.
You
won't it.
Did you find it? Sagacious?
So sagacious means having or showing keen mental discernment and good judgment.
Oh, damn. I love that
So
word.
that's sagacious. And then pertinacity. It's probably pernicious. No, it's not.
Pertinacity?
Pertinacity is the quality of sticking with something no matter what.
Ooh,
okay.
Those are both really good words.
Okay. You wrote a poem.
Yeah, he did. What I love most about that poem is that someone can listen to that and it'll apply to, like, something completely different in their life. Like, for Santi, it might be, like, music or...
Bam skis.
Yeah. But for me and Caesar, it's like weightlifting. You know, it could apply to so many different things.
Yeah.
Because one day you may.
One day you may. But yeah, he talks about going after it, the stern pertinacity, and it's really, if I hadn't taken a step back to really take a moment to dedicate myself to a little bit more of the weightlifting side, a little bit more of the coaching side, and the background on a lot of the stuff with the podcast, and my life would definitely not be any different than how it was before, where I was just sitting there wasting my time working away for somebody else and not really doing much. But
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. If there's nothing wrong with that, if you're not me, because I personally can't live that way.
I know I can't, but I just want to, like, kind of bring that out there.
Well,
but at the same time,
some people can. That's how some people like to live.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point. Is just there's nothing wrong with that, and I think that's the thing though is some people aren't willing to lose it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they have different responsibilities. They have different things that they have to take care of, and
bam.
Yeah, it's there's nothing else.
But that also, like, makes you think that what if they didn't have anything to lose? Like, would they actually go and do something else?
That's character. That's their character, and that's the person.
Let's just hope that they have someone like you guys who's able to just kind of implant that in their heads. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if I've ever met someone who doesn't have a dream or something that they wish they may. You know what I mean?
One day you may. Yeah, I don't think I've ever met somebody who doesn't have something like that. I feel like I've met a lot of people who have given up or see or think that one day that
it's irrational or whatever. I mean,
yeah, one day they might not.
One day they may not.
They may.
They shan't. One day they shan't.
I meet a lot of people like that where a lot of the stuff they kind of give up, or you're just kind of lost and don't know which way to go. And that's where this podcast became a thing for me, where it was me getting my own life in order, and in the process of me getting my own life in order, hopefully there were some things that were happening that I was doing that they could take and apply to their life, which was the accountability and just the motivation that they learned. Because, and we'll talk about it a little bit later about the Friendsgiving that we had with our team. But, you know, how many people in the world can say like, hey, I'm getting coached by one of my coaches is a Hall of Famer, you know, and my head coach is that guy's daughter, you know, and the people that he's coached and the people that she grew up around were Olympians and people that have gone to do great things in the sport. Like, how many people can really say that? You know, not a lot of people can say it. So I'm very grateful and very thankful for being in that position myself. And in that way, by the universe blessing me with something like that, I can take it and I can flip it and give it to somebody else, where it's like, look, this is the kind of stuff that's happening to me. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm learning, because, you know, I can't recall if I talked about it. But there was one time where I was at my job, the job before my manager job and all this stuff, where I was working down south, working for that recovery company, doing that kind of stuff. And I was having a really rough time there. Couldn't really get my foot in, and couldn't really do much. And I was really sitting there complaining about it. And then one day I did something really dumb. And then like the next day, Coach B heard about it. And I went up and I talked to him, and it was just Bailee and I. Bailee was there. She kind of walked away, and he pulled me aside, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know. Cause he's like, "You're being a fucking asshole. That's what you're doing." And he's like, "If you were my son, if you were my athlete, I'd stop coaching you. Like, if you were my son, I'd fucking kick you out of my house." And it's like not many people can get that. Tough love, or they can get that from somebody who has that much weight to their name and has that much weight to what they say. So it's the same thing. It's like how you're benefiting from the things that Bailee is doing for me. It's the same way where other people are benefiting from the stuff that Sage and Coach B tells me, and the stuff that I learned from all my friends and athletes and all that stuff. So it just kind of goes hand in hand. But really, I want to talk about the progression on after getting injured, like the next move. It's like the next move. When are you dealing with adversity? How do you get through it? Because how do you rebuild from it? Because rebuilding takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes energy. And sometimes it just happens for different people. Mm-hmm. It happens different for different people. Like I said, when I first hurt my wrist, when I first hurt my wrist back in September of 2018, right? Mm-hmm. Fuck, dude, I was hurt for a little bit, and then
you had a cast.
I had a cast. I had all that stuff, and then I was watching a lot of funny videos on the internet, and then I actually started this podcast. Mm-hmm. That was the one thing I did that I kind of smothered myself with and kind of like drowned myself in, so I didn't have to think about how shitty it was to not lift weights. Mm-hmm. And how shitty it was to not do something. Like, I was actually kind of okay at something else, and that's where this started. So it's kind of, you got to take it, you have to roll with the punches, and you have to take it as it is, because getting hurt is not fun, and it's definitely not enjoyable.
Yeah.
But the coming back from it, the rebuilding from it, that's a lot more beneficial, because then you can really see the fault and why you got hurt, how you got hurt.
I would rather not be hurt.
Yeah.
But the comeback from being hurt is always so like gratifying and just fulfilling. Like, you just feel good. You feel like in that moment you're like, oh, I really did something. Like, it might have knocked me down, but freaking I got up, you know?
Cause what's funny about that is that I like how many, and remember the thing about the theme about this episode is be uncommon. Mm-hmm. It's like being uncommon. Like, how many common people are willing to put themselves in a situation like that? How many common people are willing to just play everything safe? And how many of those uncommon people
don't want it to happen again?
Well, they just don't want to risk anything. They don't want to risk getting hurt. They don't want to risk losing their job. They don't want to risk getting some sort of critique. They don't want to risk a lot of stuff. Where being an uncommon type of person, you put yourselves in situations that end up
where you can't get hurt, you could get criticized. Like, it might not go your way.
But I think ultimately that's the way that you learn, because if you didn't, I saw it on, I think it was on Joe Rogan's Instagram. It was on his story where he talked about how it was, what was it? It was adversity. Adversity is one of the things that is crucial to the learning process. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
It could be also like failing is crucial.
Failure found to be an essential prerequisite for success.
Yeah.
So there's a long article that I should read, but I'm just looking at the headline.
Failure could also be like adversity. It could be like hurting yourself because you like failed on whatever happened where you hurt yourself, you know, like you being criticized could be you think you failed about this, but that's just what ends up making you better.
Yeah. Like, that's why it's an essential prerequisite.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, rebuilding is definitely important, and I know I've taken the steps to rebuild, and you and me are pretty similar because we're essentially doing the same thing. A lot of the failures that we have that have consequences come with injury because of weightlifting. So a lot of it is
it's always pretty rough.
Yeah, it's always taking the time to look at the faults in the way that we train and come back a little bit stronger.
Yeah, you always want to come back like stronger and smarter. I was just talking to my sister earlier because she hurt her ankle, and she's a track and field athlete. She's a long jumper, triple jumper, and she hurt her ankle, and my dad actually called me to get me to tell her to take some time off to let her ankle heal. I was talking to her. I said, "Hey kid, do you like track and field?" And she said, "Yeah." I go, "Do you like running and jumping in track and field?" She said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, you got to take time off to let this heal. Like, you got to be smart about it. Don't be dumb. Don't try and train through it and make it worse. Like, you got to take time off." And like, that's literally the hardest thing to do, is to take time off and try and get better, because all you want to do is get back, you know, but ultimately taking time off is helping you get better. You're going to be able to rebuild when you come back. And
doctor put me in a cast because she knew I wasn't going to stop training.
Yeah, exactly.
And I still didn't stop. I broke my first one.
I definitely wasn't put in a cast. I just like trained smarter. I made sure I wasn't in any positions where it would hurt, you know? So, but
coming
you gotta be smart.
Coming from someone not so athletic, but more of an artist background, how do you deal with failure and rebuilding? Like, what is it that how do you rebuild from the sadness and the depression of failure, the absolute crushing despair of feeling like one day you meant
accidentally deleting the song you worked on for so
we
long.
figured that out.
That was terrible. No, I honestly just had like just now, like as you guys were talking, like I obviously was kind of like to myself right there, I honestly had a really profound moment where it might not, like what I say right now might not seem like it's any different, obviously, but it like really struck a chord like within myself. And it was just the fact that like what else would there be to do
About what?
about life if like you were to have no adversity?
If you were just
If you were to have
easy?
if it was easy, like honestly, like truthfully, like what would there be to honestly do? Like truthfully, like when you talk to anyone who has tried and tried and tried and they just seem like they really can never get enough because they're so engulfed by a craft, it's truly because they understand that like there's no boundaries, like there really isn't. And I mean, you know, as far as stay hard comes, you know, and go, like as far as that like saying goes, like dude, like you really just gotta, I don't even know how to explain it. Like right now, like I said, it just really struck a chord. But if you were to not get hurt, it's like, would you ever really be curious to learn about how your body works and to possibly progress and become better? Like I know a lot of, I mean, I took an athletic course, an athletic training course, in school. And I mean, there was at least 3/4 of the class who said they were taking that course. Obviously, you know, like they were put on the spot and it was like an icebreaker, but you know, they had mentioned that they were athletes in high school, you know, and they got hurt. I mean, athletes get hurt. That's a common thing, but they're in an athletic training course because they got hurt and they're curious to see about not only like that, like to kind of know better about themselves and whatever, but I mean also to just know. Like it's just a curiosity to see if they could help other people, help themselves.
Well, that's like me with sports psychology.
Boom.
Well,
I mean, plain and simple.
It's like me with being a coach.
It's just
like making this podcast.
Exactly.
You know?
You have to you have to expand on the back end of it to be a better athlete, to be a better coach, to be a better anything. The more you learn and the better that you can teach, the better you can actually be a student at the same time.
Well,
you know?
I think what he's saying is like the only way.
This is the way.
Right, Mandalorian. The only way you're able to like get to that point is something happens to you, where it strikes a chord in you where you're like I got to figure out something else.
Hey, it's like playing Left 4 Dead on expert,
Oh
bro.
my god!
I don't know, Eddie. I don't know how many of you have ever played Left 4 Dead or Left 4 Dead 2, but if you put that, look, there's a huge disparity between advanced and expert mode. Advanced, you take one hit, it's like 8-10% damage. On expert, it's a fucking 20% hit. You're down in 5 hits. There's no perks. There's no nothing out there. You don't fucking pipe bombs or shit. And it's so hard. And literally, babe, the other day when you asked me what we did, and I told you that I cleaned and done all that stuff, I didn't. Santiago and I played Left 4 Dead for like 3. We played Left 4 Dead for like 3.5 hours
to pass one level.
To pass one level.
I knew
one level.
I
But
knew
I
you were
cleaned.
lying.
But I cleaned when you came home.
I knew it.
But
yeah.
I cleaned when you came home.
Way to cover your ass, bud.
That's real stern pertinacity right there. If I'm saying one day you may pass this level. Thanks. Rich Piano was there blessing us.
But I mean there you have it. Like I mean, plain simple, it's
Hey babe, I clean.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I mean that just came. I think that's an analogy that we would both understand. Obviously, there's other people that also probably wouldn't. But
the thing about this podcast, I mean, the logo that's on the podcast is of a weightlifter. So it's like the people that listen to it either know weightlifting or they know athletics. I'm just assuming here, but I would assume that the big majority of people here listening are people who have the same mindset. I get comments on it all the time. They're like, dude,
growth mindset.
Yeah, it's all about getting better. So I think the majority of people understand what you're saying, and the majority of people understand that the people who are listening, are listening for a reason.
And they want to get better.
And they're putting themselves in that adversity. So it'll strike a chord and it makes sense.
Hey, Bruce Lee said, do your own research.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best research is getting hurt. And then what do you do from there? It's just, if you didn't want your body to work, you wouldn't care. You know what I mean? As far as a weightlifting standpoint goes, you know what I mean? If for an artist, you just want to sit there and always have artist block, or I don't even know what the phrase is because that's not part of my vocab. I just keep going. But dude, it's
This
like
fool never faces adversity. Like
I do, but I just don't.
He
I
faced
just don't.
adversity today. Showed up his first day at work.
Oh,
30 minutes late.
I see that. Okay,
That's adversity.
Hey, you ain't gotta
You're
say
getting
that.
personal, bro.
You ain't gotta say that. I dropped the ball the first day. It's okay though. It's all right. Hey, they love me.
Oh my gosh.
The hoes love me though.
There's a quote that I saw from Matt Foreman. Is he a coach? Is he a weightlifter? Is he a weightlifting coach? I'm not 100% sure. But he had a quote. He put it on, I believe the format is on Facebook. But he said that weightlifting is a very tough sport. In all honesty, some people aren't going to be tough enough to do it. And being tough doesn't just mean going to the gym and training when you're beat up. Tough also means having the personality strength to stay in the sport and keep banging loud enough to make something out of yourself. Nobody gets to be great right away in weightlifting. It's too hard for that. You have to stand in line and wait for your shot at the top, busting your ass and changing your life the whole way. Not everyone is cut out for this. Now,
I have a good one to follow.
Honest to God, you could take weightlifting out. You could take weightlifting out, and you could substitute weightlifting with anything else.
Oh, I know what the quote is. Shout out Rep Max Performance again.
It's a half.
Posted this. They said, like, tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Tough times don't last. Tough people do.
Like,
word up.
Yeah, right.
Shit.
Like it takes
screensaver.
It takes a whole different kind of person to be able to go through a valley, go through like hitting the floor, and still being able to, get back up and do it some more.
There's this other quote.
For the rest of the podcast, we're just going to say quotes.
From Afro Brutality. He's like, the struggle you're facing is a test to see if you're truly committed to the life you say you fucking want.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. One day you fucking may.
Dude, for real.
But only if you continue. So that's pretty much what's going on with this as far as the injury. It just so happened that Bailee had the same injury and little Santi over here had some emotional injury and some emotional stuff he had to grow through. But
artist life.
It's also funny how the one thing that I wanted to talk about, because this podcast was supposed to be just me, and then I was sitting down there, we were watching Breaking Bad, and Santiago wasn't doing anything, and I was like, hey, do you want to record a podcast? He was like, yeah, and then you came up here.
No, you roll with the punches,
But I'm talking about the new job opportunity that I have, but it's pretty ironic how at this current moment, all three of us have different job opportunities that we're working with. So like,
it's the universe, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it's weird. It's
2020. No, you know what? It's the end of the decade. All this crazy stuff is happening.
End of the decade. But he's kissing his Jesus.
It's Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. Everyone's got their different name for universe.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But basically touching on like the stuff that I was talking about how Steve Jobs says that you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect.
Steve Jobs said.
Oh, it's because he's dead.
Yes.
So, the late great Steve Jobs once said.
There you go.
Before his untimely demise, he says that you can't. One day you may. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't even explain to you how relevant that is to this guy's life. It's so crazy.
Dude, I've never heard that before.
No, you never heard that?
No, that's hardcore, dude.
There you go.
So
Dude,
So you
this
can,
is moment after dude, this is too much, bro. Oh shoot.
So he's like, you can't connect them looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. And the way it so happened to work out for me, one day you may, was, you know, I was sitting right here in the studio, and I was looking at the computer screen, and I was still the manager of the shop, and I was like, dude, I'm fucking tired of this. Like, I'm sick and tired of this. So I just, on a whim, just kind of looked at USAW level 1 courses just to see where they were. And it so happened that in whenever it was, September, October, November, August. Yeah, it was in August. It was right after prom season. Yeah, I mean, I could say that. Right after prom season, when everything was just like dying down, I was just kind of pissed off and tired of everything. And then, and I just wanted to take my step back because I just wanted to focus on something else. So I was looking at the USA level ones. I just missed one that was down in San Marcos. That was like a couple day out double barrel. There was one that was like 3 or 4 days before I had seen it. And then I looked, and then there was another one coming up in like a couple weeks at Waxman's gym. And I was like, I'm going to fucking do it. I don't care. I'm going to spend whatever money I have to. I'll use whatever hours I have to. I spent the $500 to go to it, like paid for it, went to it. And as soon as that happened, as soon as I went and I took the test, and you were still working, then you saw me take the test in the store.
Yep.
Like, I took the test, I passed it, and it was just completely different. Like, after that moment, after I passed it, I was like, holy shit. Like, I went to the seminar, I did everything. I was like, I'm
doing it.
I'm legit. Like, I have the certificate to the right. Level 1 weightlifting coach right there. Right there, guys. And then I had to take a step back and like talk to our DM and like, hey, like I can't do this anymore. I have to really do me. So with no real plan, the plan was for me to go out with just the level 1 that I had and start talking to all these high schools around us and see if they needed a weightlifting coach or something. That was it. That was my plan.
That was, yeah, because you had talked, because like my sister's in high school and my parents work in school districts, so you were like, I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna watch them lift weights when they're in the
that was my
weight room.
That was my plan. I was gonna go into it with like no real course of action. I was just gonna go and see what they had. But at the I stopped working the 5-6 days that I was there. I dropped down from manager down to just a regular person, and then I've worked in there 3 days. I've been working there 3 days since, I don't know, for the last like 2 or 3 months, and taking a real step back to all at the same time. Like, I started working at CrossFit, like I started helping out at CrossFit by Overload to help them start a barbell club and helping their weightlifting class. I'm focusing more on my training, even though I've been hurt. But then out of nowhere, I got basic,
DM.
Yeah, it goes down in the DM. I got DM'd by one of my old weightlifting, my old football coach, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to coach?" And I'm like,
he was like, "I see all the cool stuff you're doing.
Yeah,
all your cool weightlifting.
Yeah, all the weightlifting stuff." He's like, the coaching stuff. He's like, I see it.
Pretty legit.
Yeah, he's like, "Come, you want to coach?" And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. Yeah, 100%. Doesn't matter." And it just kind of blossomed forward from there, because I got put in contact with the other head coaches that were my coaches too, and they all liked me. And he was like, he's like, "I'm going to hire you. You're going to be like, you'll do that. Like, you'll be here. You'll help us out with throws and football. And obviously I want to help them out with weightlifting." And I went to go start doing the paperwork stuff, and I was wearing my USAW shirt.
I see.
When their water polo coach kind of approached me, and he was like, "Are you a weightlifter?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, it's like, "That's great, man. I love that." Like, and he just kept talking. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm also a coach too." And he's like, "What? Like, really? Like that's crazy."
What?
You guys are ridiculous.
Yeah, that's shit right there.
But long story short, basically it's like, I'm going to help their water polo team out, but I talked to Coach B about it, and he's like, "That's great, man. Like, that's how you start it."
Well, that's exactly what he said forever ago, was how you were like, "I want to have a gym. I want to be a coach. He's like, well, the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you get some experience under your belt. Like, you have to go out, you have to start doing stuff. You're not legit until you like get some experience.
Yeah, and a lot of the weightlifting stuff I'm doing is for free. Like the stuff that I'm doing at Overload, the stuff I'm doing at the high school.
Out of the kindness of his heart.
Yeah, just to get that experience.
Yeah.
And as time goes
As
time goes on. As time goes on, eventually I'm going to get paid for it, you know, if it works out. And then
but like how Santi said earlier, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and to all those hitters out there who want me as a coach, you guys can start paying me too.
That's why you get me as a coach too.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Santi is a coach; he'll provide you music.
But you really can't connect the dots looking forward. It only goes backwards. So
I love that.
If I hadn't taken a step back, I'd spent all my time at the place down south and still driving an hour a day and not having enough energy to do anything else. Didn't go get my level 1. I'd still be there, and I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now. So it's like big moves, thinking to yourself, one day you may, because that's all I was thinking to myself. One day you may. But what about you, babe? What about you? Looking backwards, what dots connect for you? What that led you to like this job opportunity, to this like new job opportunity?
I always tell people, so I'm a waitress, and I always tell people at this place, like when I was a little kid, when we would go out to eat, my dad would always say, one day when you're in college, this would be a great job for you. Like, this is a great, it could pay for your books. So like, whatever. And freaking now I'm in college and I'm paying for my stuff with this job. I didn't realize how great it would be. It works great with my schedule. Looking back, I started there in like the most basic position and I worked my way up, and I was telling Caesar the other day, I was like, I always got promoted basically when it was like at the most convenient times. It was like right after someone had left and he's like, no, you got promoted when like you should have been promoted. Like those are the perfect times for you. So I'm super grateful about that. And like now I'm more than capable to be able to take care of myself and my family and be able to do what I want to do because I'm doing the things that I have to do, when I was in high school, he's like, do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. One of my high school teachers said that. Mr. Gaynor, shout out, super influential.
That's kind of like today I would do what
exactly.
others
it is.
Tomorrow I could do what others
but
can't.
I had never heard that before, and he said that to me, and I was like, oh my God.
Jerry Rice.
Exactly. But so like looking back, if I had never left my job before, then I wouldn't even be at that job in the first place. If I had never gone to school, the biggest thing is if I had never went to go to EOS, the gym, just so I could spend more time with my boyfriend because he was at the gym all the time weightlifting. I literally just wanted to spend more time with him. If I never would have gone back there to spend more time with him, I literally wouldn't be the person I am today. Because that's how big of an effect weightlifting and the community and everything and like all of my friends that I've gotten from it have made on my life. Like it's 3 years ago, I was a completely different person. It's just crazy. Like looking back at it, like you never would think where you are then, like now,
Connect those dots.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying so hard not to say that quote.
You didn't think back then that one day you may.
Yeah, I literally didn't.
But it's funny how
she was getting shit done.
It's funny how Santi just homie hops. He just kind of cousin hops with jobs.
Oh yeah, because it was your job.
It was me, and now it's you.
Oh no, but I'm sorry, my job's way better. So
he just homie hops from me to.
I mean, but if he didn't work at the job you had, I wouldn't recommend him for this job. I told someone earlier, I was like, oh, I got my boyfriend's cousin, a job here.
I mean, he's basically your cousin too.
Yeah, I know. That's what I call him. And I'm like, oh, well, he's my boyfriend's cousin. But they were like, oh, what is he going to do? And I said, well, he's too pretty to be back here. And they were like, dang. So, and I said, well, no, he's very personable. Like, he's a people person. Like, he knows how to talk to them. And the only way he really became a people person was from working with Caesar, was from literally being forced to talk to hundreds of people a day. And at this job now, he'll only have to talk to them for like 5 minutes, 30 minutes max.
Babe, just admit that our job was harder than yours. Do it.
I'm not good.
Live on air. Do it.
Okay, it was harder because you had to talk to them longer, but
I'll take that right there. Okay. One day you may
win
an argument.
But yeah, like he might, like looking back on the dots now, if he had never gone back, if he had never worked with you, I wouldn't recommend him for this job now. And who knows where this job will take him? Like he could. Right now, he's starting at the low-level position. He could be a server.
He could be so he's starting at the position that you were.
Yeah, exactly. He could do just as well as I'm doing. I know that when he went in for the job interview the other day, they were like, "Oh, what do you want to get out of it?" Kind of like probing him to see what position he wanted to move to or whatever. Like if they would be able to retain him, but he was like, "I'm just trying to."
It's all experience.
What'd you say?
Exactly.
What'd you say?
He's like, I'm just trying to get experience with.
That's
like,
what it was.
People.
That's what I told him. I just wanted experience, and on top of that, I wanted a challenge. It's like
what I said.
But like that's how he was able to get it. That's how. Well, I mean, of course, also because I bugged my manager so much to look up your application. But
hey, Joe opened the door and he was like, "Look, one day you may be a server."
Exactly. No, I mean, I am very confident in his abilities, and I swear to God, if he drops the ball, it's really gonna suck. but yeah.
So that's
that's like connecting the dots.
What's your take on it? What are these dots? What dots are you connecting with this? You have to pee? Then go pee.
Okay.
Well,
I'll be back.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. You know what I mean? It's just, man. Especially, I mean, I feel like you can definitely probably relate to this a little bit also, but it's just finding out, plain and simple, what it is that gets your blood pumping, that runs your spirits high, that makes you want to live life.
Gets your dick hard.
You know what really gets my dick hard?
Helping out my friends.
No, but yeah, man, it's just
I'll even do it for 4/5 commission.
Oh, dude. But yeah, I mean, it's just you realize you really do, and that's the thing about being young. Also, is the fact that, man, you can take whatever route it is that you wish. You know what I mean? You really can. And I mean, it's really hard to narrow it down to maybe 1, 2, 3 things. I mean, just a handful of things, really. But that just opens doors for you. You know what I mean? You're gonna live life, live it. You know what I mean? And it's just plain and simple. You gotta do it with the things that you love, the people that you love. You know what I mean? And I mean, going through a little bit of school, a little bit of college, that's hard, and I mean, I definitely, it's difficult because I tell people that I took the semester off when really it's like low-key kind of got kicked out. But I mean, it's like, hey, it's adversity. You know what I mean? Would I really be here right now trying to do what it is that I want to do
if you didn't get kicked out?
If I didn't get kicked out,
I don't think so.
If all those things hadn't happened, if all the time that I had spent, just thinking about what it is that I'm doing, and if I hadn't even taken the classes that I had, because I mean, I got to tell you. Of all the things, you know what I mean, that I did do, the classes that I did take, the class that I failed miserably over and over again was the class that I learned the most from.
English.
Boom.
Wait, seriously?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And that's the crap thing, right? It's like, oh, English? Bro, I've been speaking that since day one, son. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, sure, but at the same time, it's just
I came out of my mom's yes mother.
yeah, sure.
Yes, mother.
Tit mother.
Oh, God.
I thirst.
Stop.
But yeah, I mean, it's just I mean, connecting those dots, it's just I wouldn't think the way I do if it wasn't for that time of
Strife.
of just strife, but I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but just thinking, just plain and simple, just good old fashioned connecting the dots. You know what I mean? It's just wondering if what it is that you're attempting is really what you want to do, and just really, it's just, I mean, you really at some point have to think about how finite life is and how short it truly is and how you want to spend it. You know what I mean? And I mean, people spend it in different ways, and you know, just figuring out how you want to spend it. You know, whether or not it is that you want to get into a job and work your way up through the ranks. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, honestly, that's probably one of the hardest things you can do is someday be at the top, be that dog. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like,
someday you may.
Oh my God.
I knew you wanted to say that shit, dude. Oh man,
I'm changing the
It's
title.
so
I'm changing the fucking title of this episode. It's not being called.
you better, dude.
It's one day you may.
Dude. Oh man,
Where are we on this board?
Accountability.
Oh,
accountability.
love it. Love.
Right. I don't even want to talk about me anymore. I want to talk about you guys.
I love accountability. It's
Well,
one of my. Go ahead.
Let me touch base on this first because before the episode was changed from be uncommon to one day you may. Or it's going to be like be uncommon, the one day you may story. That's what it's going to be. There's
a colon in there?
There's a colon in there.
All right, sick.
There's a quote by Les Brown. I don't know if anyone's ever been on like the Mateus ZM inspirational videos on YouTube. The one with like Rocky, where he's talking to his son about like he's talking to his son from Rocky Balboa. He's like, the world's not all sunshine and rainbows. Mm-hmm. It's like his most popular video. It's got like 80 million views, some shit like that. I'm probably like way overshooting it, but that's like really popular video. He does really good motivational videos. And there's one where he talks about, there's one video there's about being uncommon. I think I'll find it and put the link down in the bottom so you guys can check it out.
How much do you think the artist Common hates that saying?
Wow, dude. we made that joke earlier.
Wait, you did?
Like literally like 5 minutes into the episode.
Oh my gosh.
We made that joke earlier.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But he's talking about being an uncommon breed. So Les Brown on that, he goes, it's necessary to know that everyone won't see it, that everyone won't join you, that everybody won't have the vision. It's necessary to know that a lot of people like to complain, but they don't want to do anything about their situation, that you are an uncommon breed. So I like to take that, and then I like to take a little bit of what David Goggins likes to say about being an uncommon person. David Goggins likes to be the uncommon amongst uncommon. So there's one thing to be just an uncommon person, and then there's being an uncommon amongst the uncommon group of people that you're around. So
is that kind of what you're striving to do?
Yeah, obviously.
Like,
I mean,
where our weightlifting team is uncommon, you're trying to be uncommon amongst us.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Or the fact that I'm trying to be one of the best in the country.
True. That
a lot of the guys that I'm competing against are already uncommon men.
Yeah.
So I have to be the most uncommon among them. Mm-hmm. But that's where the accountability comes in, where it's like being that uncommon breed of person, you have to have a kind of crazy crazy mindset when it comes to that accountability, because I mean the tattoo I have quoted on my arm, I have 2 tattoos quoted on my arm about it because they're really important to me. The first one is, today I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't. That was the second tattoo I ever got. No, third tattoo I ever got. That's the big one that's on my left arm. And then the other one that I got was, what are you doing when no one's looking? So what kind of person are you when nobody's looking? And I learned that a lot in like football back in playing high school football, where, coaches weren't looking. Are you still doing the drill? Or are you dicking around? Are you just being an asshole? Are you just kind of not going hard? And
well, that's like with weightlifting. When you leave the gym, are you eating like an asshole? Or are you taking care of your body?
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
What the fuck are you looking at?
I thought that was like shots fired.
I've been eating really well.
No.
Thank you.
I'm just saying in general, like there's things that athletes do, even when there's like a difference between high school level athletes where you're like, oh, coach is looking, and like athletes like us. What are we getting out of this, except for making ourselves feel better? Like, we don't have to do this. We don't have to. It's something we want to do. And when no one's looking, like, no one's making us do this, but we're still going to do our best to do it.
I think my young blood Zach Talander, my
ZT?
hitter, Coach ZT. If you haven't looked at his YouTube videos, check him out. He's a pretty good guy. What the fuck was that?
I agree.
One of his most recent videos was talking about CrossFit and how CrossFit's done a really good job at bringing athletes into the sport,
bringing awareness
to the sport of weightlifting.
Which I mean, also Coach B has been saying for
a couple years. And then he talks to I think he talked to him in that video. He talks to Alexei Tarakty, the gold medalist from 2012, 105 category from Ukraine. He was talking about how the U.S.'s system is actually preferable to any other country's system because of like China or Russia or any of those. It's like that the country mandated program.
I think I get where you're going.
Where they don't have, they're selected, they're pre-selected. Where in the U.S., a lot of the people who are doing it because they love the sport, and that's where kids are coming in. Everyone's doing all that stuff.
Well, because like, what is it like? Remember how we were talking about that one time, Santi, about how like all these people could be playing football, but only a couple of them go to the NFL, and it's like, well, they only care about born talent, not about how hard you work.
Bam.
That's like one of my favorite sayings is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Like you can have, sure, the China and the East Bloc might have all these mandated programs where they have these great athletes that are pre-selected, but like you could possibly be missing a great future athlete by having these biases set in place, and like here in the U.S., we have all these athletes that like you would never guess, like freaking where did these people even come from, but it's because they're working their butts off. They want to be as good as they can, and that's how like it happens.
Isn't that a Gatorade commercial?
What?
It's like we're all just a kid from somewhere.
Oh my God, I love that.
Damn, bro. That's deep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
Well, and that, like, I can speak, Caesar, he's an athlete. He has these giant, strong legs. Like, you're like, dang, he's strong. If you would have seen me 2 years ago, like, even throughout high school, I'm not very athletic. Like, I'm not an athletic person. I'm not strong. Yeah, sure, I might be a little flexy and mobile. I can, like, get down into... But I was never strong. I was never really athletic. I couldn't run or anything. So when I found weightlifting, and Sage, our coach, she'll say this again, is that, like, I'm the last person you would think that would be a good weightlifter.
She's better than I am.
But the thing is that I'm gonna, like, work as hard as I can to be a great weightlifter. And so, I mean, so far, like, we're 2.5 years in, and we are where we are, but I am so much better than I was when I started 3 years ago. And now you would have never thought, I feel like I've like almost earned my place. Like I belong, but I'm literally the most athletic person you'll ever meet.
Oh my God, baby, you are Elsa.
I am. Thank you. But like, that's where I'm so grateful that this sport doesn't have pre-selections, where I can just go and try, and there are all these people that are like willing to let me in because of the love of the sport. Yeah.
You're all a kid from somewhere.
Exactly.
And you know what that kid was told? One day you can make.
Oh my God. I was like, what? What was that?
I know. That was
You got
unsuspecting
me
right
there,
there.
bro. You
That was
got
pretty
me.
good. That was pretty good.
As far as what it is that you do when no one's looking, like the thing that I see Santiago do a lot, like even when I'm fucking like before he had to
You're
work.
playing Left 4 Dead. You know?
No, before he came home,
Okay.
before he was here, and before before he had a job that he'd have to go to, and there's no charge on here. And before like I would come home and then we'd sit and play Left 4 Dead. Like there were days where I would like leave in the morning, or I would leave for work in the morning or do something in the morning, and he'd be on his computer, like making music, and then I'd come home like 8 hours later, and he's still on his computer making music. Like that's
Like,
a lot.
Have you showered? Have you gone to the bathroom?
Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you forget.
Dude, I haven't brushed my teeth yet, man.
No,
I was like, I can smell
like,
you.
it's a
You know
musty
what's
ass.
really
like-
weird? You know what's really weird? It was really weird. Back when I went and I had my little sabbatical and I lived in San Francisco for
Yeah.
a little bit. There were days where I'd be like busy all day. I'd be busy all day doing whatever it was that we were doing up there, and I wouldn't eat, or I'd eat for one time, and then I'd ask him like, when do you eat? When do you eat? He's like, I don't eat. So I don't eat. Sometimes I forget, and I'll just I'd work all day and then forget. You just get so caught up in it, and it makes sense because it's like, it makes sense. Like whatever day it was that you over the weekend, it was Saturday, when like Mel and Connor and Janae all came over,
Mm-hmm.
like after you guys all left for work, I worked out from like 2 to 4 or like 12 to 4. I'm sorry. Like I was in the gym from like 12 to 4. Hadn't eaten anything before, and I just trained.
I literally don't know how you do that.
I trained from like 12 to 4, and I was like absolutely fine. And then I stepped into the garage. I stepped into the house, and I was like famished. I like almost died. But you don't think about it because it's like you're so enveloped in what you're doing, and it's
No, I totally understand. That's how like when this is something I've noticed, like when I go to work, and I'm sure you've probably thought the same thing, is that when I'm at work, I literally am so busy, I don't even think about weightlifting. And then I step out of work, I get into my car, and all that's on my mind is weightlifting and like homework or whatever, you know, but I get to the gym, all I can think about is weightlifting. Like there's nothing, you know, you're so focused. Your mind goes to like a different place. So as soon as you stepped into the house, you were like, "Oh my God, I'm so hungry," because you weren't weightlifting anymore. You're focused on the task that's at hand.
what are you trying to accomplish over there, little Santi? When you're doing your
when you're not brushing your teeth.
Your 8 hour days. Your 8 hour days.
Your
8
hair
hour
is
days.
like,
Dude, just really hella greasy and everything. Yeah. I mean, it's always, you know, just being young in this craft. It's like you gotta find a way to just figure out how to express yourself. That's all that art is, really, you know. So it's complicated when you're unable to do so at the current moment. You know what I mean? So it's like if you have yet to learn how to play an instrument or something, and you know you're trying to do so, but you're not quite sure what chords to play or you know, timing and such, it can be frustrating, you know.
do
So
musicians have mentors? Like, could you have a coach
Yeah, that's why you have like a
yeah.
piano teacher or like a.
No.
or like something like that?
definitely. I mean, everyone's got to start from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
One day you may be able to play on your own, but
I was lame.
sometimes
I was lame.
you know. Shut up.
Okay, but yeah,
Shut
go
up.
ahead. Well, I'm just wondering because
But well, yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm kind of. I guess not waiting for, but I'm definitely kind of working my way up to that opportunity. When I do strike that,
Goal.
you know, not that goal, but I mean, because I guess finding mentorship isn't necessarily like a goal, but it's something more so people kind of stumble upon. When I do, I'm definitely going to take advantage of it, you know, and I mean, you know, we have a friend who we've met through our prior my prior workplace
Benjamin.
and his current workplace, that, you know, like I can definitely
Like
learn a few tips, something that'll elevate me to the point where I can then possibly express myself a little bit more than I was able to before.
Well, I'm asking because, like, you know, before we were training at EOS, and then we met Sage, and like I said, I was like so unathletic, but she's helped me she's really facilitating my learning process, and I was just wondering if that thing could happen to you. And it's funny that even you say that I'll just stumble upon them, because just the other day, I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, at Friendsgiving, we think about this all the time too, is that like 2 years ago, we all, like a lot of the people on the team, Caesar and I included, had literally just stumbled into her life, and we're there now, and we've learned so much from her, you know, like we weren't actively seeking it. It was just something that happened, and we've learned so much from it. And honestly, I'm really sure that, and like hoping that that'll happen to you.
You definitely skipped a part in between.
What?
You skipped our first coach.
Yeah, but I mean,
well, the thing is those kinds of people are crucial.
Well, yeah, that's what
those people are crucial, because sometimes you have to learn the difference between. You learn from everybody.
Yeah,
there is a purpose for everybody there.
Well, I mean, I'm not knocking my first coach or anything, but I really feel like I enveloped like a deeper understanding when I met Sage.
Yeah.
So,
did you hit somewhat of like an early stage plateau where you couldn't seem to almost see yourself getting better than a certain point? Like you knew you were maybe not at your prime from where you were then, but you didn't know how much more you had in you.
Are you saying like from one coach to another?
Not even a coach. I'm talking what you thought of your own capabilities at that point in time, you know? So it's like maybe you were lifting, let's say, you know, 55, 60 kilos at the time, and then you can see yourself, you can envision yourself possibly lifting 70. But someone else comes along and they're thinking, hey, we might be able to get you to 75 or 80, you know, something along those lines, where they see more in yourself than you do at that current time, you know?
This is like another thing that this ties into Frozen 2. And another thing that I totally started crying about the other day was that, like, how, I don't know if I had already said this, but like confidence is a big issue of mine. Oh, I think I had. And how, just for listeners tuning in right now who jumped to an hour and a 30-minute mark, that I have like,
they don't do that.
I have confidence issues in myself, like how I never thought I'd ever be good or anything. And like, I definitely didn't think I'd be where I am now if it wasn't for the like helping hand of the people that I have not really earned, or the people that have joined like my journey. Like,
who's that?
Like Sage, Megan, Kelsey, you. I mean, like you, like our relationship has like molded and mended with our different stages of life, but Sage and all the people on the team have
Sage and Coach B.
Yeah, absolutely. Sage and Coach B have like, they definitely at more points have had more like confidence and belief in myself than I had ever had.
So let me
for myself. Wait, can I say that there's like two quotes that have really like can personify like the feelings that I think about them, and like definitely about believing in yourself, because that's something that I've struggled with for so long. Is one is what lies before you, what lies behind you, and what lies before you is small matters compared to what lies within you. And another one is, let me pull it up real quick. It's really good. But another one is the power is in you, the answer is in you, and you are the answer to all your searches. You are the goal. You are the answer. It's never outside. Like, you know, for so long, people look for these external things that can justify you, but you need to know that, and what I need to know, what I needed to find out was that I had it within me the whole time. I just needed someone to fucking help prod it out, you know?
A good coach can change the game. A great coach can change your life. You hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
A good coach.
100%.
A good coach could change the game. A great coach could change your life.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
listen to this.
Look at the other side. Yeah. Hold on, he's got a little note he wrote, you know. He wants to read it.
Dear Coach Richard, you have been the greatest coach in my life. I love you, Richard. I want you to show me your game. You helped me love football again. Thank you for being my favorite coach.
Okay.
I cannot tear up.
Besides that shitty music that was behind it, it's a little boy. It's a little boy and his coach. The kid's like 5, bro. The kid's like 5. And
he's literally like 6. Like, what did...
He's like 5 what's happened to his life that's made football so fucking rough for him.
Poor kid.
But they give Coach Richard a little glass. They give him a cup, like a little Yeti tumbler, and it says on it, a good coach can change the game. A great coach can change your life. And then he reads him a note, and he's like, "Dear Coach Richard," "Dear Coach Richard." And in the middle of it, the kid just starts crying. He starts crying at the very end of it when he's like,
so much feeling.
Yeah, when he's like, "I love you, Richard. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being the best coach that I've ever had." That's real, man. Because it's like, there's good coaches and there's great coaches, and honest to God, I can say that I've had both. And sometimes it's they change the game. They change the game for better or worse, and then they change your life for better or worse. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing really. Like,
what is it, the quote where it's like, it literally takes a village.
Takes a village to raise a child.
And to like help you see the power within.
The power within.
So.
Takes a village to let
100%.
you know that one day you may.
Oh my
God. But just to touch on it, and I think I've told both of you. So there's this cool little activity that I've started doing. It's the accountability notebook that I've kind of come up with, come up with the help of like things that I've heard from other people. But it's like 2 composition books, or like 1 composition book, and on the front page, the way it's broken up is on the front page, you write down a list of everything that you want to complete in a day. So let's say you do 10 things. And I know that
one day you may.
Yeah, on the top you write, one day you may complete all 10 of these things. So however long your list is, whether it's 1, 2, or 10 or 15, 20 items, just know that the more it is, the harder it's going to be to schedule your day around it. So anywhere between 5 and 10 things that you want, you could add something gradually. But let's say you have 10 things that you want to do that day, do every single day, and you have to do it with the intent. You have to write these down with the intent to do it. So it's like, clean something, wake up at a certain time, eat these macros, do all this stuff. Just list off a number like 10, right? And then after that first page, you break it down to the week. So you separate the page in, 7 different sections. And it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's no days off. And on Monday, you grade yourself. You go throughout the entire day and you grade yourself on what you did that day. Because trust me, you'll forget or you won't remember, which is the same thing as forgetting. You won't do something and it should eat away at you. But the goal is to do all 10 things all day. So let's say Monday you did 4 out of the 10 things, right? That's a 40%. So 40% is not a passing grade, right? So you have a 40%.
Santi knows that.
Yeah, a 40% for the day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hit, babe.
Damn.
Fucking shots.
You know, like Tuesday, you should shoot for something better. The goal is to get all 10 done a day, consistently every day. If you want to break it up, you can also do weekly stuff. So it's like you have these things you have to do every week. You know, I had this to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I've been doing that. It really makes me feel like a piece of shit because I do forget.
100%.
I do forget. I am trying my hardest not to forget a bunch of stuff, but you know, from what I've learned about accountability is if you're not being accountable.
Oh, but like the thing is that makes you like aware.
Yeah,
you know,
it makes you aware that you're a piece of shit.
No, like if you write it down, you're like going throughout your day and you're like, oh, I should probably do this. Like it just brings awareness, you know. And
then if you do miss it, there's
then you
a part,
feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah, but that's something that I've been doing. If you need help on it, just hit me up and I'll help you guys out.
Oh, but I love accountability. Like I am totally one for being responsible for your own actions. Like there was this one thing that or like just if you something Olaf said in Frozen 2. Oh my, this movie is so relevant. He said like something bad had happened in the movie, whatever, and he was like helping the kids, and he was like, I call this controlling the things we can control when there are things happening that are out of our control. And that just takes on like you being aware of what's in your control. And one thing that I think is really important that a lot of people don't know is like, oh, I was one of them. Like 3 years ago, I would get so angry about things that would happen to me. So angry about things that like happened that weren't even in my control. So I definitely had to take a step back and realize, like, I'll give an example as like at work. So let's say at work it's super busy and I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting flustered, I'm getting...
Yeah, because the hostesses are sucking ass.
That's not even the point. I'm getting flustered because I can't like handle this stuff, and I would get angry about it. I would get so mad, like, why is this happening to me? Like, why? I would get so angry to the point where it would inhibit my ability to do my job well. And so I had to take a step back and look, like, I can't control how many people are coming in to eat right now. I can't control like a lot of things in my life. But what I can control is my reaction to the things, is how I react to these things. And that sets the tone for like...
Something my dad said to me, I think he said, it's like things don't happen to you, they happen at you. Get it? Things don't happen to you, so they're not directly affecting you, they're happening at the things around you.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you choose how you respond to these things.
100%.
Yeah.
Be proactive, not
That's
reactive.
like if something...
I have a good one.
Okay, go ahead.
One day you may.
Oh, my God. Let's see. At the end of this podcast, I want you guys to see how many times Caesar got us with this fucking saying.
It's been like 4 now.
Dude, it really has been. You set it up. Good job. But... like for weightlifting, let's say you're in the back room at a competition, you're like, holy shit, like why? Literally, like, why is this happening? Why does it feel this way? And this stuff is happening to you, but the one thing you can control is how you react to it.
Like, let's say you bombed out
exactly.
on Snatch.
Ugh, rough.
Fuck.
Literally.
We've all been there. I've never bombed out on Snatch, but I've bombed out on
you've
clean
definitely
and jerk.
gone 1 for 3. Okay, but clean and jerk is after. It's a little different.
Is it?
Yeah, because after snatches, you still have to go out there.
You know what? That's not true. I bombed out on Snatch.
You did, but then you didn't even come out for clean and jerks because you hurt yourself, and there was really no point.
Bitch.
But, so, like, I bombed out on snatches, and what's really important is how you come back for like clean and jerks.
Setback comeback.
Is like you can either sit there and you can mope and you can wallow in your sadness and your pity. You can get angry. Like, why did this happen to me? Like, and you could just have all this anger and frustration with you, or you can freaking balls up and go out there and just like brush it off your shoulder and you'll be okay. You know, like you can't, how you handle stress and compartmentalize those things are like so important.
That's one of the things that I've learned from weightlifting, because I've put myself in some really fucking stupid, stressful situations. Like being 0 for 2 in snatch at my first nationals and I'm making my last one.
Oh my God.
That shit was fucking
100%.
crazy.
Just FYI, he also did the same thing at the competition where he clean and jerked 190. He only made his third snatch.
That was my first
pretty
meet.
stressful.
That was my first meet since nationals.
Regardless.
Okay, yeah, sure. But yeah.
Be uncommon.
Be uncommon amongst uncommon.
Be uncommon, only go 1 for 3 in snatches.
So this is the thing. This is Jesus Christ. This is a quote by David Goggins. That I really like.
Take some motherfucking souls.
One day you may.
Dude.
No.
Just for everyone who can't see, he literally had his piece of paper and he squinted at it like he couldn't read what it was saying. And I was gonna offer, do you want me to read it?
I fucking squinted. I fucking squinted,
like,
dude.
Like
I was reading that shit, man.
He says, no matter what avenue I choose, I want to be the very best. And the very best might not be number one, but the very best may be, did I leave everything out inside of me out there? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like that.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. I bombed out in a competition in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah. You hurt your elbow.
I bombed out. I fucking missed the first clean and jerk like an idiot. I missed the second jerk on the third one.
Fucking do that one too. Sorry. God damn it.
Like Gene. And then on the third one, I went out and I went to attempt it. I almost walked off the platform backwards.
That shit was crazy.
Because all my momentum was going backwards from the jerk.
That shit was crazy, bro.
And I walked out and I was so upset and I went to Sage and I was like, why? I'm like, why did I have to miss it? Why did I miss that? And she said, I don't even care. Like, you literally fought for it. And I did. I fought until I hurt myself. Like, you have to go out there and... What is the quote? This is relevant. I'm trying to tie it back into the quote. Yeah, to the quote.
Oh, just leave. You have to leave everything inside of you out there.
I literally did. And a piece of my elbow on the platform that day.
What about you? What about you, little Santi?
Little saint.
What
Still wearing your name tag from your first day of work.
Damn, I am.
What about you, bro? What about what's accountability? What are you accountable for?
I mean, just always progress, always progressing. You know what I mean? Every day is an opportunity. Every minute is an opportunity, just to gather knowledge and be a student of some sort. We're all trying to be students. You know, we're all trying to teach. At least I feel that should be the goal, is eventually to pass that knowledge on. And I mean,
well, that's like, why do you have this podcast? Why do we post things on Instagram? You know,
because you want
confirmation. Well, right, but it's like so important. Human. Oh my God. For like human nature and like psychologically to know there's someone out there who has gone through the same thing as you and like is okay and like you can pass that on.
We're a network. You know what I mean? And it's like we're here to help one another out.
Like a social network.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Shouts out.
Smoking meats.
Smoking meats, bro. We're like Yahweh, bro.
Yahweh.
Like Yahweh.
Oh wait, what?
What's it called?
Iowa, right?
I don't know.
Iowa, the one in Avatar.
When they connect their shit.
Oh, when they connect their little fucking penises, their hair penises.
Yeah, no, I totally get where you're going.
So, I mean...
Well, we're extremely humans and are extremely social people. Like, and so are like gorillas, and we can look at their social constructs and understand the same thing.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
it's crazy. I remember reading about something and watching something where, I mean, everyone is definitely their own individual, right? But did they all have the same upbringing? Do they all have the same background where, you know, a lot of times they had similar things done to them or at them, I should say. And, you know, they reacted in different ways, whatever it being, but they had prior knowledge to it. And, you know, that's going to be what determines how they react to it, you know? And I mean, everyone's going to have those particulars, and, I mean, helping each other out is going to be a major thing, you know, because a lot of times we're all seeing through a very similar lens where, you know, it's just very, very common things that happen. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, not only you guys have gotten hurt trying to make a lift.
No, like,
you know, and it's
the stuff where it's the same thing with that poem where what we're saying, people can apply it to different things in their lives. Like, they've gone through the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, how many sayings have we brought up? How many quotes have we brought up?
All of them.
You know what I mean?
One
Don't
really
don't
important.
I was waiting
don't
for that shit, dude. But it's just it's because we've resonated in different ways. You know, it's just we've all had to overcome through, you know, in our own, like I said, particulars. You know, it's
because our brain, bro.
Well,
boom.
Just to kind
Because carbs
what-
helping our brain.
Bamski.
just to kind of tie it back to the quote where with David Goggins about leaving everything inside out there. I got hurt doing a PR attempt. So did you.
Well, people get hurt. They get criticized putting out a piece of music.
Yeah. Well, but it's like the same way where it's like the injuries that we sustain happen because we've done max attempts.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting everything we have out inside of us out there. And with music, with art, it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of like when you watch like not Hell's Kitchen, Master Chef.
Oh yeah.
And they're always like, this is me on a plate. And you always think, shut the fuck up, you idiot.
What?
But you realize it's like these people love cooking as much as we love weightlifting, as much as Santiago likes music.
I always, that's why the first thing that I do when I hear someone say like, there's no meaning to life, I'm like, well, find a hobby.
Obviously.
There is.
They haven't heard.
Okay. We saw that coming. That one wasn't a good one, but you know, one day may.
As much as what's, hold on, from the Lonely Island, Hot Rod.
Andy
Rod?
Samberg.
Fucking Rod.
Fucking,
Rod Kimball.
Yeah, Rod Kimball. As much as he loves fucking stunt, dog.
Stunts.
Are you kidding me? Dude, I was just thinking about that. As much as he loves to party, dude. No, but I mean, it was just he wanted something, man. He wanted
to
something.
kick Frank's ass.
Dude, are you kidding me? He wanted to kick Frank's ass, and he kept on beating his
he
shit.
made Frank shit himself.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, in case you haven't seen it.
Bam.
You're a man.
I mean, that movie was made in 2007, so if you haven't seen it, you fucking suck, man. It's
Great
too late.
movie,
But yeah, it's just crazy, man. And I mean, are you kidding me? When Bailee, you commented on how when they put the film of him like training and everything, and
how-
everyone
and everyone laughed at it.
everyone laughed at it,
He
man.
was so upset because he
He thought. I mean, he knows what effort he was trying to put in. You know what I mean? It was subjective. It was completely subjective. The way all of us think that whatever our particulars are,
Whatever your max
are
attempt
very
is.
yeah. Whatever your max attempt is. I mean, it's just, you know what I mean? It's yeah. So I mean, I going to several of your guys' competitions. It's like sometimes it's not the heaviest lift that's the most exciting. You know what I mean?
whoa.
It's just
Bro.
Dude, I mean, are you kidding
Love
me?
that.
Dude, who said that to you? Rich Piana? Fuck.
Dude, no. I mean, I
Wait,
kind
so
of,
why?
I kind of thought that shit out loud. Yeah. You know why?
Why?
Because one day
Oh,
you made, dude.
Okay.
Again, that was kind of shitty, but it's all right. But hey, still, like, you know what I mean? It's just, I mean, I've been to these competitions with you guys, and are you kidding me? It's like, I mean, I couldn't imagine seeing these people not putting in their entire, every ounce of their being into that 10 seconds. You know what I mean? It's like,
It's definitely like 30 seconds.
I mean,
It was
if you're
your
counting,
quote who said 10 seconds. 10
No.
seconds of max effort.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
like, I'm saying.
Fuck,
Okay,
bro.
you know what?
like, are you talking about their
Sorry.
approach to the bar and everything?
Shit.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like the actual amount
You
of
might
time
as well.
have
You
on
might
the
as well say
platform.
2. You might as well say 2 minutes.
Come on, baby. What is it? What is it? Come on, baby. That's right, baby. Or what is
Oh
it?
my God.
No, yes, sir.
Give it to me, baby.
Fuck, dude. What am I supposed to do if he listens to the show?
Don't worry about it. You don't
He
know.
doesn't know.
You don't know.
I mean, no. Haven't heard anybody else say it.
No, but I mean, yeah, man. You get excited. You get excited. You know what I mean? It's like
Pumped.
it's just the craziest thing. And I mean, that's like what I tell you. What I tell you when we were out there, when we were watching all these people, and we were watching
Oh, and
Bailee.
how he was like, "Oh, this gets
Oh, I
me hyped."
remember
Dude,
what you said.
it's-
I remember
it's-
what you said.
What'd you
It's
say?
awesome. It was just.
I remember what you said.
What'd you say?
One day you may.
I do. I fucking. I felt that one. I felt that one, dude.
I was like, "What? What did you say?" God, you're so good at that.
Oh man.
Wait, no, but what did you say? Seriously.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing, man.
Oh,
It was just cool because I love the community. I love the familial aspect of it. Just the fact that everyone's there acknowledging the work that these people are putting in. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like we may not understand why people love to cook so much,
But one day you may.
but one day
On
you may.
MasterChef, yeah.
And it's like, you know, and I mean, Gordon Ramsay might tell you to fuck off, but hey, you know,
Idiot
it's
sandwich.
it's just. But hey, you be the best damn idiot sandwich there is out there. You know what I mean? You come out with a dank, whatever it is, Danish.
Fucking raw.
Not a Danish, but something way better.
You're almost there.
You know what I mean? So it's
Fucking
just.
raw.
It's fucking raw.
I keep
You donut.
I keep thinking about it, and I keep asking everybody. But do you think like a girl chef who has like a super rough daddy kink
Oh my god.
ever thinks like when they're cooking and he's like
So inappropriate.
and they're cooking and he's like, what the fuck is this? This is fucking ridiculous. Do you think she's like, yes, chef?
And she's into it.
Yeah,
like she's
she's
purposely
into
sending up
it.
bad food.
Yeah,
'cause she
she's
wants
doing
to
it on
hear him
purpose.
yell at her.
It's just sabotaging
She's
her
fucking
team.
raw.
Okay, that's stop.
Okay. Last thing we're gonna talk about. I mean, really, it's the
Thank you
Friendsgiving.
guys for listening.
The Friendsgiving that we had. The
Oh my gosh.
Friendsgiving.
Honestly,
But Thanksgiving is coming
well,
up.
also like the fact that we had our Friendsgiving like we had last year, you know, but like Santi came and he saw it and he was like, it's so crazy like being here to witness like this group.
Do you guys remember what Trevor
functioning.
said?
What did he say?
One day you may. You suck, dude. You were terrible. You're falling.
I'm literally
You're falling
setting
right
it up.
into my fucking
Oh
traps.
my god.
If we played chess, we would have lost a long time ago. No, but what was, he said?
Well,
that
what did he say?
The thing from Winston Churchill. That
What?
one quote.
Oh yeah.
What did he say?
I can't remember it exactly, but damn that.
Here, you guys talk. Let me see if I can
Something
find it.
about being around good people or
You guys talk and figure it
No,
out.
I don't even think it was.
but
it was that.
so at Friendsgiving, Sage hosted it, and she said that like ever since she was a kid, her family would make everyone that was attending like stand up and hold hands or sit around in a circle, whichever, and everyone had to go around and say something that they're thankful for, which is something that I honestly really loved, and I encourage you to try and do your Thanksgiving that you have on Thursday. Shout out Turkey Day. So, but we all got up, we all went, and it took maybe like 10 minutes. Everyone, and there was like 16 of us, maybe less than that, but maybe less time than that. But we all
No, it probably took a little longer.
like 5 minutes. No,
I think it took a little longer.
I really don't think it took.
No,
that long.
I think everyone had a little bit, quite a bit to chime in on.
But and honestly, like you had no choice but to like listen to what they said, and we all went around. We talked about each other, and it was Santi's turn, and like he doesn't like lift with us or anything, but he's part of our family. He knows what we do, and he was like, it's like really great seeing everyone. Like I'm grateful for witnessing. This.
It was the fact that it was moments like that, you know, and it's not. The thing is you create moments. You know what I mean? So. Mm-hmm. And that's the cool thing is not only did I only go to Friendsgiving, but I have seen you guys lift and practice and train. You know, it's just I've seen those moments that you guys like kind of create with each other.
It's like the quote from The Office where it's Andy says, "I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you left them." You
know,
and like when Santi said that, I was like.
Yeah, sometimes it takes an outside perspective, you know, to kind of bring it all together. And I mean, I was very glad to be that, you know, that. Well, we also had that set of eyes that slaps. So, you know, that too, yeah, so definitely slapped. Not gonna lie, I was hurting afterwards.
Oh, dude,
I was definitely.
I had round 2 today.
Contemplating like throwing up,
But yeah,
I can't find it.
It was and what Caesar was trying to find was he was trying to find something that Trevor had said, one of our teammates had said in the circle regarding like people and just being thankful for everyone. Like I had said, for instance, like I'm thankful for everyone in the circle. They're basically my extended family. I'm also super thankful for my health because it's not like I'm currently not injured or suffering through anything. I mean, I was a little sick last week, but like I'm healthy as far as it goes, and I'm grateful for that. And I also said I like thank them for like my mental sanity because they help me stay grounded and help me realize that I can like push through the hard things in life. And so it was just something that it was like really good. Like it just makes you like you leave and your heart's happy, you know.
Yep.
Which is something that I think is super important. Like it's just times like that you don't realize it until later. Like you're looking back, you're like, man, remember
connect the dots.
Exactly. Remember that year at Friendsgiving when we had like talked about all this stuff. Like I would love if there was some way we could have gotten that on video, because that's something that I would literally cherish like for the rest of my life. But I only have my mind to rely on it.
He exists now, only in my memories. Okay, well, it's almost midnight, and Thanksgiving is on Thursday. We're gonna have another episode come out. This one's coming out tomorrow on Tuesday, or later on today and Tuesday morning. Another one will be out Thursday.
This is a good comeback episode.
But speaking about giving thanks, I appreciate every single one of you who listens. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys, because you make him feel better and keep on podcasting. And
thank you. And if there's anything that I could say, it's one day you may.
Oh,
bam!
It's a
happy
good
Thanksgiving, folks.
Bam.
Thank you for everything that you guys have done. Have helped me, and
thank you to our sponsors, Coors
Banquet. Thank you for everything, and like I said earlier, I'm opening it up. If you want to support the podcast, you can support it on Patreon. If you want to get some real coaching, some strict coaching, and want me as a coach, you guys can always hit me up. And we'll talk about it. Let's figure some stuff out. I'd love to do it. Please like and share this podcast with your friends and your family. Post it on Instagram, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? That helps out a lot. It definitely helps out a lot. Coming up, and I know I say this a lot, but now I'm going to be real about it. Coming up, I'm going to do a lot more podcasts, a lot more stuff online, and a lot more of stuff on YouTube to kind of give you a day into the look of our training and our lives and all that kind of stuff. So once again, thank you for everything that you guys do. I love you guys, and just remember, one day you may.
One day you may.
One day you may.
All right, guys. Have a good Thanksgiving, or no, you're gonna get another episode on Thursday. No, on Wednesday. Well, Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow's Tuesday. On Wednesday. All right, guys. Thank you. Goodbye. Let me play the music. Let me play my outro music. Ready? This is the Rich Piana theme. Yeah.
One day you may.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Freestyle. Ready?
Turn my headphones up.
Yeah.
No, I'm just-
Babe, go.
One day you may. Don't be astray. Lead your life day to day. I don't know.
Bam.
All right. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Fuck!